is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Welcome inside the studio, Maria Taylor alongside Tony Dungy, Drew Brees, and Mike Florio, and we are here to wrap up your Week 17. And we're going to start with a team that Drew Brees is starting to call the Big Play Bengals because they were able to walk away with a huge win on a lot of big plays. And let's talk about welcoming in Kansas City, getting a victory to run the North in your division.
Yeah, well, first off, this is a game I wish these two teams played every week because I could sit there and watch these two offenses go at it at any moment. You know, it was the tale of two halves. You know, Kansas City came out like gangbusters, on fire. They were up 14 points at half. And then Cincinnati found a way to completely slow them down offensively in the second half. And then that's when a lot of these big plays from the Bengals started taking place on offenses, specifically with Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow. That connection is pretty uncanny right now. And just their ability to beat the number one seed in their own backyard, but do it in a fashion where they just kept fighting. It just makes you feel like the Bengals can hang with anybody. It's just a matter of, you know, defensively, will they be able to stop them?
Well, the thing that happened to me, they adjusted and Kansas City didn't. You know, they came in, Cincinnati, we're going to just play our game, and then they played their safeties deep, said we'll take away that deep passing, make them go the long route, and Kansas City never did. Time after time after time, line up bump and run coverage on those outside receivers, and Joe Burrow, they were just too good for him. They had no coverage people that could handle him.
Mike, it's been interesting. You've been talking to Joe Burrow, it seems like all season, but it's never been a team that's lacked confidence, and it certainly showed up against Kansas City.
Yeah, look, they had been on a strange path of 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins. They were supposed to lose according to that very high level and intricate convention that they developed, but you know, they're not affected by the fact that they lose games. He understands it's going to happen. And he also recognized, and what he told me last week was, that to the extent this team doesn't have playoff experience, they're getting it now. And today was a playoff game. It felt like a playoff game. It allowed them to punch their ticket to the playoffs. And you know, they're not going to shrug at all the talk that is inevitable that the Bengals haven't won a playoff game since the 1990 season. That used to be an anchor for the Bengals. I don't think these Bengals are going to care. They're going to be as loose as we saw today. And, yeah, Coach, as you said, they got to take away Ja'Marr Chase. Teams started doing that the first time the Bengals beat the Ravens. They started devoting extra guys to take away Ja'Marr Chase, forcing Burrow to go elsewhere. And if you're not going to do that, he's going to keep going to Chase over and over again, and it's going to get as ugly as it was today.
Well, it's like a security blanket. Remember, they're both first-rounders. They came out of LSU. They turned around that program, won a national championship together, and now they have won the AFC North with Cincinnati for the first time since 2015. All right, meanwhile, Miami had to take on Tennessee, Coach, and Miami had won 7 straight games, so it was a very hot team. And Tennessee has been reeling all season, dealing with adversity, but they showed up and were able to get a huge victory against the Dolphins.
They did. They got their run game going. They kind of got physical. They didn't get in a lot of long yardage situations to let Miami come with those intricate blitzes, and I think this was a confidence booster for the Titans today.
Yeah, and to jump into that one seed, we've been talking about so many other teams, and Tennessee has just been slowly and methodically just following their formula this entire time. But if I were to say what team has the best up front, you know, players both offensively and defensively, it might be the Tennessee Titans. What they're able to do up front offensively, running the football, and then just that defensive line, the way they're able to control the tempo of a game, that makes you feel like they can go in the playoffs and beat anyone.
That's a strong statement. Florio, do you agree with Drew?
Well, yeah, especially with Derrick Henry likely to come back for the playoffs. They have managed to hold it together. They have managed to position themselves for the number 1 seed with the very real possibility that the best running back in all of football will return for the postseason and give that team an even greater lift and even more confidence than it already has. And you know, I felt bad for the Dolphins. It was impressive they won 7 games in a row after losing 7 games in a row, but at the risk of getting all the Tua Tagovailoa fans after me, I'd rather they be after Chris Sims as they ordinarily are. It seems like every time I looked up, Tua was throwing an inaccurate 5-yard pass or making the one NFL throw I know I can make when your arm goes back and the ball goes that way when your arm comes forward. I've perfected that one, and I'm left-handed.
Well, we got to get you and Brian Flores hooked up then, Florio. We got to see if we can get you on the team. Let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders because obviously it's been a tumultuous season for them. You lose your head coach. I mean, you have to battle back from that, but they get a victory in the final seconds by a field goal, and they have to do it against the Colts, which is a red-hot team. So, Mike, what is your takeaway and what we've seen from the Las Vegas Raiders? Is there one win away from a playoff berth?
It really is amazing to see how they have managed to find a way to get back on the same page. They bottomed out after everything that happened with John Gruden and Henry Ruggs, and it felt like they were coming apart. And they just have gradually and consistently put wins together. They had that big Thanksgiving Day win against Dallas that I think helped them turn the page on everything that had happened. I had thought as of a couple of weeks ago, I didn't want them in the AFC playoffs because I didn't think they could win. I didn't think they could compete. I thought there were better teams that would be more able to win a game after Week 18. But based on what they did today in Indianapolis, maybe they can be competitive and win a wild card round matchup.
You know, when you look at what they've done and what's happened, you have to think about Rich Bisaccia for Coach of the Year. Yeah. All the distractions they've had, all the turmoil. Then you go down a little losing streak. Then you lose Darren Waller, arguably your best player. And you win these games down the stretch. Just holding that group together and saying, we can still win and we can still do this. I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree. And Greg Olson as well as the offensive coordinator in the job that he's done, taking control of that offense, along with Derek Carr and the leadership they both provided. But, you know, I look at a couple of their road wins here over the last month. They go and win at Dallas, obviously Thanksgiving, but they go and win at Cleveland. They go and win here at Indianapolis. So teams that know how to run the football, know how to control a game, and they find a way to come in and win close games. So, you know, battle-tested, have overcome all kinds of adversity, not afraid to go on the road and beat anybody. So if they make their way into the playoffs, they certainly will have earned it.
Yeah, it'll take a win against the Chargers, and that's a game that they're preparing for Week 18. Meanwhile, we saw Baltimore, who's already lost 5 or 4 straight, lose their 5th straight against the Rams, and it wasn't against trying. I mean, the defense came out very strong against Stafford. They forced some turnovers, but then we saw the Rams start to click on offense.
Yeah, Baltimore was playing great, controlling things. Huntley was moving the football, and Matthew Stafford looked off, Drew, at the beginning. And we're sitting there saying, gosh, what is going on? But they got it together, and some of those veteran guys that they've gotten just for these moments came through.
Yeah, they did. And I look at this game as here's Baltimore fighting for their life. So you know you're going to get their best game. They did not play well early on, but one of the things Stafford has always been able to do is lead these 2-minute drives, make the plays and the big throws when he needs to make them, which, you know, he was perfect in the second half there, 14-14, I believe. So to knowing what they're capable of, I think is what makes you feel like, gosh, they're dangerous. And yet I still don't feel like I've seen the Rams put together a full 4-quarter performance.
Then, Florio, what have we seen from the Rams so far this season?
Well, I think one thing that we've seen that is very important, they didn't panic when they lost 3 in a row. It didn't collapse around them as it could have. I talked to Von Miller after today's game about that. I wanted to know when the spark was that caused them to find the gas pedal and win 4 in a row. And he said there really wasn't. They never changed anything they were doing. They never thought any differently about who they are and what they are. They just kept doing what they do, and the wins started to come. And here they are with the 4-game winning streak, and now they're within a victory of winning the division, something that seemed very unlikely a few weeks back. And guys like Odell Beckham Jr. are making weekly contributions. Guys like Von Miller are making weekly contributions. He had his best game, and he sealed the deal with a sack that happened because he was one-on-one. He's not used to being one-on-one. He's used to being doubled and tripled, and he loves having Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd there, so he gets less attention and he can wreak havoc like he did today.
Well, let's keep it in the NFC West, because the Arizona Cardinals are going to have their eyes on the Rams next week, but they also have to take care of business in Week 18, just like they did against the Dallas Cowboys, Drew. How are they able to pull off a win on the road against the Cowboys?
Yeah, to me, this was a must-win. You know, I mean, forget the fact that they're already in the playoffs. They had to make a statement today on the road against Dallas. They'd lost 3 in a row and really had not looked themselves at all. I think a lot of people probably began to write them off. They have so much talent offensively, but they've been down a few weapons. But today just felt very much in sync. It felt like they were playing with a lot of confidence. Kyler Murray was finding other weapons in the absence of, you know, no James Conner, no DeAndre Hopkins, no Rondale Moore. Defensively, I felt like these pressure packages showed up again where they were really getting after Dak in a way that, you know, it's been hard to slow down that offense. So they looked like a team that we saw earlier in the season that we thought, wow, you know, who can beat the Cardinals? They've certainly proven that they can go on the road and beat anybody, anywhere. And as a wild card team, that's what you're going to have to do. So, you know, are the Cardinals, you know, ascending now, you know, after their little lull? They might be.
I was impressed with their defense. got hammered a little bit by Jonathan Taylor the week before, and they really came out and shut the run down, got in a lot of long yardage situations where they could come after Prescott today, and they played well defensively.
What impressed you most, Florio, about the Cardinals?
Well, Kyler Murray really getting back to the guy that we were used to, and he loves playing at AT&T Stadium, and he loves playing in Texas. Maybe they'll have another Super Bowl there, and that'll be the year the Cardinals win it if Murray's still with the team when it happens, because there's just something about it, and he said that after the game. There's something about playing there. He feels greater confidence. They need to find a way to get him to feel that way elsewhere, especially at home where they've lost 4 in a row. But, yeah, they were already in the playoffs, but they needed something like this to rebuild their confidence going into the wild card round.
And this could be setting up for Dallas hosting Arizona again in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and Kyler Murray, he's a perfect 9-0 in Jerry World, dating back to high school. So
can they just take a piece of that turf?
Just a little piece.
I know it's turf versus the grass, but something?
Something. It's got to be something. Okay, let's do something here. It's called the speed round. You guys are used to it. I say something. First reaction, and we're going to start with Antonio Brown, coach. Antonio Brown's sideline antics were what?
Almost inevitable. I mean, he's had them every place he's been, and you hope that he's growing out of it, but I just knew that this was coming, sadly.
I'm not shocked, and yet I've never seen anything like that before. So I don't know what one word is.
You can't give it one word. Florio, do you have one word for us?
The truth is they were overdue.
Yeah.
He had been a model citizen in Tampa Bay from the moment he arrived in October of 2020 until the fake vaccination card incident. And you would think, if anything, he'd be on his best behavior again after the team so openly pondered the possibility of not keeping him. But I don't know whether it was the pursuit of the incentives that set him off, but something got him started today, and that was that. And I'm still not ready to say he's not going to play again, because talent is what wins guys second chance. It's not some sort of sense of altruism or anything. Teams want to win games, and there may be a team out there that thinks he can help.
All right, well, we'll see whether or not he does play again. Meanwhile, we know that New England and the Bills, they're trying to win the AFC East. But who needs it more?
I really think Buffalo needs it, because they've gone into New England once and won. How hard is it to go in and win twice? And again, this looks like it's setting up for Buffalo-New England rematch in the playoffs. I want that game at home if I'm the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think just the expectations coming into the season for Buffalo were that they were the clear favorite in the division. And it's been much more of a battle for them. In fact, they lost it for a while and then had to regain it again. So I just think the journey that they've been on is setting them up to make a good playoff run.
Mike?
Well, I look at it this way. If the Bills don't win the division, it will mean that they lose next week at home to the Jets. So if you can't beat the Jets at home with the division on the line, you don't deserve to win the division. So it's that simple. This should be an easy win, and they prove themselves, and New England comes to them.
You must not have seen the Jets against Tom Brady and Bucks, okay, in Week 17. They can do anything, says James Kaminsky. All right, well, our Week 18 matchup, which one is most intriguing to you, Coach?
I'm going to have to say the Rams-San Francisco. The Rams have struggled with the 49ers. This is a big game. Rams want to stay in the 2 spot. San Francisco probably going to have to win to get in. This is going to be a great matchup, and I want to see how Trey Lance does on the big stage.
Yep. Being a guy who used to play in the AFC West and knowing that a few weeks ago we were talking about, you know what, this might set up for the Chargers and the Raiders to be playing in Week 18 for the 7th wildcard slot. And indeed, that is exactly what's going to happen. I cannot wait to watch this.
Maybe we can get Dave Casper back, just roll the ball up ahead a little bit.
Right. Bambi, bring him back.
Mike, who you got?
And yeah, that's the same one for me. Chargers, Raiders. It's fitting. The Holy Roller game, everything about it, the old rivalry. It's been around for years. Back to the AFL. That's a perfect playoff play-in game.
I just love the fact that it's coming down to Week 18 and the playoff and the biggest season ever. And obviously, we're going to be right here to take you through it. So make sure you join us on Football Night in America. We'll see you at 7 Eastern on Sunday night. And enjoy your week.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.